There's a few highlights from your time in TNA that get replayed all the time, like even to this day. And I think the one that immediately pops into my head is the moonsault off the cage to Ken Anderson. I actually talked to him about it. He told me this story that you guys were supposed to originally have a 23-minute match, and they cut it down to like 10 minutes. And then you go out there, and he said that you told him, don't worry about it. We're just going to keep going.
Yeah, I was pissed off. They cut our match a lot of time. I was like, screw that. We're taking our 23 minutes. So but you know what? You don't do that in pro wrestling. I shouldn't have done that. That's the wrong thing to do, unfortunately. But I knew this match was really special. I knew Ken and I were going to have this great match. And let me explain why. Okay, Vince Russo put this match together. He set the rules for the match. It made no sense because they wanted a match in a cage, okay? But you can't climb out to win, all right? You can't get pinned to win. The only way you can win is going outside the door. So they painted us in a corner. Because what are we going to do? Why would we want to climb the cage, to have stunts off the cage, if you can't leave the cage over the top and win? So why would you climb in the first place? So we had to think of ways, we had to get creative and think of ways of why we would go up there. And it was a really tough match to put together because we were limited to just leaving the door. And, you know, if you just have two guys trying to leave the door, and that's what the whole match is all about, it's going to be boring as hell. So we had to get creative. We had to think of reasons why we had to climb the cage and why we had to use the cage. And with not having pins, really, we couldn't have any false finishes. So that kind of sucked. So they painted us in the corner, and I was pissed off. So I was like, I'm taking all the time I want. And we ended up taking the whole 23 minutes. We might have taken more than that, actually.
What are you thinking when you're climbing up there and you're about to do that moonsault from that height?
Praying to God I don't get injured. I even did the sign of the cross right before I went. Yeah, it's scary, man. You know what? I never practiced it before. My first moonsault ever was on Bob Holly, and I broke his arm. I fell short because I never did it before, and I never practiced, so I didn't know how far out I was going to go. And I came up short. My legs hit his arm and broke his arm right in half. And never practicing it. You know, those aren't the moves you want to practice because the bumps are so hard. They're ridiculously hard. So that's something you just say, what the heck, just go, you know, and hopefully you land properly.
I mean, in this one, you landed, it almost looked like you landed on Ken's face.
I did land on his face. You know, you know, I don't know. The thing is, I ended up covering him, but I didn't know if hitting him on his face was really going to hurt him enough to pin him. You know, I don't know. But if I would have landed on his stomach, he could have sold his stomach. But it's really hard to sell your face.
Sure.